Just 3 weeks after this episode was filmed, Peter and Gwenda Dixon were shot dead on the coastal path.
Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're discussing the most shocking reveals in UK true crimes.
Jeremy Bamber was found guilty of family annihilation on the 28th of October, 1986.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
The Grindr Killer.
It may have been mild paranoia, but at the time I was thinking, you've got now 3 young men turning up dead in the same area in Barking. There's something very wrong going on here.
Many people are anxious about putting themselves on dating apps, worried that they might meet someone dangerous. While it's rare, it's not impossible, as proven by the Grindr Killer, also known as Stephen Port. Between 2014 and 15, he killed 4 people he met on dating apps. Police initially believed there was nothing suspicious about his victims' deaths.
If they'd have followed that trail back, that Facebook conversation, it would have led them to Stephen Port.
They thought they lost their lives due to accidental overdoses, but they eventually noticed a pattern, leading them to discover a serial killer was at work.
The whole thing was his cover story, it was his deception. And it doesn't rest easy with me that I took that story to the inquest, that I gave it a voice.
Many people criticised the police for their poor handling of the first cases. As if they'd handled things better, a few lives may have been saved.
I get that sense when I think about him, the man who killed Gabriel, of just a kind of a sort of sick feeling in the bottom of the stomach.
Malcolm Webster.
You're right. Is there anybody in there? Is there anybody in that car?
My wife! She was in the car with me!
In 1994, Malcolm Webster's wife, Claire Morris, died in a brutal car accident in Aberdeenshire. A police officer and a fireman thought it was suspicious, but no foul play was officially found.
Well, I do hope you're not going to forget about her. The man who caused this dreadful accident is still out there somewhere.
A few years later, he got married to another woman named Felicity Drum in New Zealand. It didn't take long before she was nearly killed by Webster, but thankfully survived.
Was that? What was what?
He married another woman in secret around the same time, who believed she was also nearly killed by Webster. It took until 2009 before he was charged, after authorities investigated him for embezzlement, then realized the full extent of his misdeeds.
He marries them, insures their life, and becomes sole beneficiary of their estate. Then he murders them and cashes in. We had a profile done on him. Psychologists said to him, people are just money in his wallet to be spent when he chooses, without a second thought.
Christopher Halliwell.
Had a serial killer been able to live and prey in suburbia?
He's a psychopath, basically.
In 2011, Sian O'Callaghan sorrowfully lost her life at the hands of taxi driver Christopher Halliwell. It only took the police a couple of days to capture the perpetrator, and then he was found guilty in late 2012.
Mr. Halliwell?
Yes.
Wiltshire Police, we're here to take a DNA sample. Your cab company told you about this?
Oh, yeah.
We're doing it with all the cab drivers in the area.
In custody, he admitted to a separate murder of Becky Godden Edwards, which happened years earlier.
You want another one?
Another one?
Halliwell even led police to where he'd left the body. Regrettably, the detective responsible had breached guidelines, so it didn't count as valid evidence.
And so he said, I don't want Christopher Halliwell to say nothing. I don't want him to hide behind a lawyer and say no comment. I want him to tell me where Sian is.
That didn't stop justice from being served, as he was charged with the murder in 2016. Halliwell has been linked to at least 6 other disappearances too, but these have yet to be confirmed.
It took the jury just 2 hours to decide Halliwell's guilt. he was given the full life sentence he feared.
Gareth Williams.
The coroner concluded he was probably killed unlawfully, with poisoning and asphyxiation the foremost contenders. Coroner Dr. Fiona Wilcox said she found the lack of hand and footprints in Mr. Williams' bathroom significant.
For quite a few years, Williams worked in the British Secret Service, either SIS or MI6. In 2010, his corpse was found, stuffed in a padlocked sports bag, left in his bathtub. It was immediately considered a crime scene, and an investigation ensued.
She was also highly critical of the way the police and security services dealt with the death, highlighting mix-ups in DNA and evidence submitted late or mishandled.
They found no way that Williams could have feasibly put himself in that situation, but they eventually concluded that it was probably an accident.
I mean, it seems as if it's ridden with inconsistencies and doubts.
Do you think MI6 is guilty of incompetence or worse?
Well, I don't know.
This was a shock to many, as the facts just didn't add up. In 2015, a former KGB agent stated that Russian spies were responsible. This has spurred a ton of conspiracy theories, with loads of people believing something was covered up, but we may never truly know.
Well, I think it's a tragedy for the family because of all these mistakes, they probably will never know what actually happened to their son and to their brother.
John Darwin.
We weren't thinking right. We weren't thinking as normal, rational people. I thought I was worth more dead than alive. And that was the truth.
In March 2002, a kayaking accident led to the disappearance of John Darwin. It was suspicious because conditions had been calm when he vanished, perplexing rescue teams.
It became apparent Mr. Darwin's canoe could have gotten into a shipping lane and then dragged under a boat, and he could well emerge over in Scandinavia somewhere. You know, that was a theory.
He was never found, allowing his wife to claim £250,000 in life insurance. It turned out Darwin had never died all along. It was an insurance scam. First, he was living next door to his wife in a bedsit. Then, he was planning his move abroad, specifically to Panama.
My phone goes and it's the night news editor of the Mirror, and he says, Dave, I've got something to tell you and you're not going to believe this. It's a picture of John and Anne Darwin in Panama 18 months ago. So she's lying through her teeth.
It all came crashing down when police were tipped off about a call from Anne to her husband. After some visa issues, he was forced to come back to Britain. Darwin pretended to have amnesia, but it didn't fool authorities, and the couple were sentenced in 2008.
The base said this man was missing, presumed dead. We phoned Anne Darwin, but she seemed to have a very monotone reaction to finding out her long-dead husband was alive.
Babes in the Wood Murders.
After decades of deceit, Russell Bishop will now have a lifetime behind bars to reflect on the murders he committed. Today he was given 2 life sentences, one for each of the little girls' lives he brutally ended.
2 young children horrifically lost their lives in the Wild Park Nature Reserve in East Sussex in 1986. At first, a man named Russell Bishop was the prime suspect, but he was acquitted in 1987.
In 1987, Russell Bishop, then 20, first stood trial for the killings. But Bishop had got away with murder, despite forensic evidence linking him to the crime.
A few decades later, it turned out police had bungled the case substantially. In 1990, Bishop was sentenced to 14 years for a similar murder. After decades of hard work by the victims' families, the case was reopened and he was finally found guilty in a 2018 trial.
I'm delighted with the sentence of 36 years, which reflects the magnitude of these terrible crimes against these 2 young girls. Bishop, I hope, will spend the remainder of his life behind bars.
One of the biggest reasons for this development was advancements in DNA analysis, which revealed that a sweatshirt from the crime scene had belonged to Bishop.
Key to his guilt was this sweatshirt that he was wearing. It linked him to the girls' bodies, but there was a failure to preserve the evidence at his first trial.
John Christie.
That's it. Shut your eyes now then. Start your breathing then. Breathe quite deeply. Breathe. Breathe.
smells a bit funny, Mr. Christie.
One of the most influential cases in ending the death penalty in Britain was that of John Christie. In the 40s and 50s, he was responsible for killing at least 8 people. Christie managed to frame his neighbour, Timothy Evans, for the crimes. This resulted in Evans being found guilty, and then, in 1950, he was executed.
Timothy John Evans, the court has found you guilty of willful murder, and the sentence of the court upon you is that you be taken from this place to a lawful prison, and thence to a place of execution.
It was one of the most significant police failures in UK history. Christie continued to murder after Evans' hanging, which eventually led police to realise the true extent of his crimes. It became a pivotal case in the abolishment of capital punishment, which finally happened in 1965.
You're Christie. John Reginald Christie. I should have to take you into custody.
Dennis Nilsen.
I said, are we talking about one body or two? And he just turned round and looked at me and he said, 15 or 16.
Starting in 1978, Nilsen took the lives of at least 12 people over the course of 5 years. After every murder, he performed exceedingly cursed rituals that involved leaving his victims in the bath for weeks.
It was horrific. It made the hair in the back of my neck stand up.
Nilsen would dispose of the bodies by either setting fire to them or simply flushing them away. This led to major issues with the plumbing, prompting Nilsen to get someone over to fix it.
In February 1983, an engineer from Dynarod, the drain cleaning company, come along to clear out some drains in Cranley Gardens. And when he arrived, he found what he thought were body parts.
When the plumber found human remains in his piping, Nilsen said someone had been flushing down their KFC. It's since gone down in history as one of the worst ways to cover up a murder, which resulted in Nilsen receiving a life sentence.
They opened the door. There was this awful smell. We were quite aware of what it was. It's a smell of rotting flesh, human flesh.
The White House Farm Murders.
5 bodies in a farmhouse in the middle of Tolston-on-Darty in Essex, in what can only be described as one of the most gruesome crime scenes in living memory.
In 1985, police discovered a horrendous crime scene near Essex. They found the remains of a family of 5, with only one survivor, Jeremy Bamber.
At 24 years old, public school-educated Jeremy Bamber is accused of murdering his mother, father, sister, and his 2 nephews in a near-perfectly planned crime.
Police first thought one victim, Sheila Caffell, had done it herself, then taken her own life.
At the time, police believed Bamber's story.
They treated the scene of the crime very much as a homicide.
This had all been orchestrated by Jeremy, who was the true killer.
Mr. Bamber said, "Oh dear, I think quite frankly I shan't live past the winter." And he said, "I think I should probably have an accident."
He nearly got away with it too, but then his partner told the police he had planned the entire atrocity, all for some inheritance money. In 1985, he was convicted of the murders and given a minimum 25-year sentence, but it's unlikely he'll ever be free again.
I began to think that Jeremy not only had planned these things, but he'd also carried them out himself. And I became increasingly upset and nervous about things.
The Pembrokeshire Murders.
April 20th, 1983, Clareston Hall, Freystock. Your first conviction for burglary. That your idea of grafting, John?
Next is one of the most infamous cold cases in history. John Cooper was responsible for 4 murders in total during the 1980s. His first 2 victims lost their lives in 1985. Then he killed another 2 in 1989.
Everything that comes
comes out of that boy's mouth. His lies has been ever since we didn't take him to Spain. When me and Pat got back, he was a different boy.
In 1998, he got a 14-year sentence, but not for the murders. It was instead for burglary.
I'm not a thief.
Advancements in forensic science meant that a 2009 review of the Pembrokeshire Murders case found hard evidence that Cooper was responsible.
In 1989, the same year as one of the double murders, their suspect had been a contestant on the popular game show Bullseye.
This led to him being arrested that same year, and then in 2011, he was finally convicted for the 80s murders. He was given a life sentence and has zero chance of ever leaving prison.
We managed to then freeze John Cooper in exactly the same position as artist impression, and for me it was like a tracing.
Were there any cases with especially horrifying reveals we didn't mention? Let us know in the comments below.